Good evening, Grave Robbers. Welcome back. I can't do it.
Well, you can do it. I believe in you.
Was there more I could have said? Now they're only pictures in my head.
Ooh, you're going down a very dangerous road here. You know, they say that you gotta remember when you're writing comic books that every comic book is someone's first comic book. So if this is your first edition of Stay Doomed, this isn't how it starts usually. I'm gonna take over. Hi, everyone. Greetings, Grave Robbers. We are your TV necromancers, or in this case, theme park necromancers. TV's Noah Houlihan and Laura Prince. We have gathered here tonight to give a wake to a beloved theme park ride that Laura's taking very, very hard. With me, as always, is a usually happier Laura Prince.
What foolishness would you like to see?
This is a look at Muppetvision 3D, a beloved attraction from Walt Disney World's MGM Studios, also known as Hollywood Studios, or more accurately known as Hollywood Studios. Today we are going to look back because it recently closed.
I'm not taking it well.
Laura, believe it or not taking it well.
I'm coming back to actually do the show.
Yes.
Because that bit would have gotten kind of old.
Yes.
I'm real bummed out.
Yeah, we're real bummed out, and I know this show is usually TV shows that ran one season or less, but if you're part of our Discord, a lot of Muppet fans in there.
Yes.
Some actual Muppets, I believe, are in there. And we thought it was appropriate if we took some time and discussed Muppetvision 3D. Now, this is, of course, an attraction we've both experienced personally, but we didn't want to just go off of our memories, so we did watch a wonderful filming of this.
Yeah, there was a really well done, a really well done shot of this.
Yes, I'll include a link in the description to it, but it is a full walk through the queue, a full capturing of the pre-show, and a full capturing of the film. This includes some non-screen elements.
Yes, and it also was a lot of nice B-roll. He took a lot of he or she took a lot of B-roll around that part of the park.
Yes.
And immortalized things like the fountain and a lot of the parody ads that were there. One more programming note, you might hear some background noise.
Yes.
It is an ungodly heat wave on the East Coast.
Yes, it is 3 digits outside.
And we had the concern that if we... generally, even if it's pretty hot out, we will turn off the aircon.
Yes.
Just to reduce that level of noise. We weren't sure if Noah's computer was going to make it if we did.
Yes. Commonly, this computer overheats. So we thought it wise to not do that. So there may be some background noise. I will do my level best to edit it out if possible. But let's jump into it. Let's talk about Muppetvision 3D. So we start with the queue.
Yes.
And it always blew my mind that this was a thing. But the first thing you see is a security office when walking into Muppetvision 3D.
Yes.
And a sign that says that the key is under the mat.
Yes. Did you know this before that we watched this?
I did know this, but I remember thinking it was crazy that it is a true thing.
Because I did it.
You did it?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the key really is under the mat.
Yeah, there's an old welcome mat, and if you pull it up underneath, there is in fact a key.
Yeah, it's just one of the many, many ways the Muppets spark joy.
Yes. So just that little bit of Disney magic is much appreciated here. So we also continue on, and there's a nice little bit where it says, you must be shorter than this to enter. Because there's like a stone archway.
Yes.
And there's like a chunk of it missing.
Yeah, where I presume Sweetum's trying to get in.
Yeah, where somebody hit their head. It's a great bit in that, one, it is a play off of the you must be this tall to ride. So it's a little bit of humor at theme parks in general. And two, just the visual storytelling of, oh, somebody hit their head here.
Yeah.
There's a moment in the video game Fallout that I find similar to this.
Yeah.
There's a moment where you can find these two ramps that are like set up over like a pit.
Okay.
And on one side of the ramps, you can find a decapitated skeleton on a motorcycle. And if you're looking very closely, over the pit that clearly someone jumped, there's a beam with a skull on it. So, little just like story, like that tells a complete story that is not vital to the gaming experience and easily missed.
Yeah.
And Disney is just chock full of these moments.
Yeah, especially in this time period. The rides that were being built from 1971 to, I'd say, maybe 2000 or so, had a lot more of these. Mm-hmm. And then there seems to be almost like a 15-year break where they don't do these as much for things like Soarin'.
Yeah.
And then some, depending on the land, there's more of that kind of stuff in like a Galaxy's Edge than there is in like a Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah, it's very appropriate for the Muppets to have these moments than it would be for Soarin', which is supposed to be an airport. So I love just these little touches, and that brings us to the pre-show. Yes,
and the pre-show is in this magical room.
Yes, tell us about the room.
It's a prop warehouse. It is essentially a storage area of Muppet Theater. And there's like 17 giant crates, all labeled Miss Piggy's dresses in some variation. Like, Miss Piggy's dresses, more of Miss Piggy's dresses, Piggy's dresses, continued. Mm-hmm. And things like that. Like, all of these just little visual bits.
Right.
That you could just walk around and, like, the pre-show is about the length of the actual show.
Yes, I mean, that is a typical, like, Disney trick.
Yes, they herd in, essentially, the amount of people who will be in the next show as the prior show starts, and then you get the pre-show to kind of keep you entertained for that last, 10-15 minutes of the wait.
Yes.
Now, regrettably, Muppetvision 3D really never had much of a wait.
Right.
Until the last 2 weeks of its operation. That last 2 weeks, they said Muppetvision was actually posting, generally still not long waits, but they would actually have to open the queue.
Right.
Which I don't recall ever not walking on Muppetvision.
Yes, I feel like there were many times that I went to Muppetvision and I didn't get to experience the pre-show. Because they're, like, all of it. Because they were like, yeah, it's already in progress. Get in there.
I've always gotten to experience the pre-show. But, like, some of the videos I've seen have taken, like, really good pictures of the queue. Mm-hmm. And I kind of had that moment of, like, oh, I don't know that I've ever gotten to really, like, look at the queue like this.
Yeah, like, what I'm saying is, I don't remember a time where I went to Muppetvision 3D and didn't walk into the pre-show. Like, there wasn't a moment where it's like, no, the pre-show people are in and you're going to wait.
Yeah.
It's always just been, there's enough room for me to be in the pre-show. So I walked into the pre-show in progress. Just so that I didn't have to just wait and do nothing until, like, the next pre-show started.
Yeah.
The pre-show for this is done in a very interesting, very Muppety way, in that there are multiple televisions around.
Yes.
But there are actually 3 main screens that are interacting with one another. Like, there are 12 different televisions, but they're showing 3 related films on them.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Like, each set of televisions is like a straight line.
Yes.
And characters will dip in and out of the different monitors as a bit intentionally.
Yes, if someone walks off screen, they will appear onto a different screen.
Yes.
To create more of a theater feeling. Lots of great stuff here. I learned something that I had not known.
Yeah?
In this. The pre-show starts with the Penguins, who will be the orchestra from Muppetvision 3D.
Yes.
And whenever I see penguins, I always go, "Thank you, Penguins!" Because that's what Kermit yells at the end of the Weezer music video.
Yes.
But the Penguins are doing a bunch of, like, shenanigans. And Fozzie comes in and, like, herds them.
Yeah.
But one wanders away, and Fozzie goes, "Eugene, come on." I was like, "Oh, penguin have name."
Yes, some of the penguins do have names.
Which I did not know.
I believe, actually, if I pull up the Muppets Instagram, I believe it is one of the Penguins' week. Because they've been doing a thing with the Muppets as we've approached the 70th anniversary, during which they closed Muppetvision, because that's not rude at all. Yeah, Nicky Napoleon is the conductor of the Penguin Orchestra.
Nicky Napoleon.
Yep.
I believed you.
And it is his week currently. And, I'm still super mad that they dare to talk about the Muppets 70th anniversary, and this is when they closed Muppetvision 3D. That was rude.
Well, we'll get more into that after we cover the review part of the show.
Rude.
There's a nice little bit about the 3Ds. Because it's Muppetvision 3D. So there's the 3Ds, which are 3 women with different D-based names.
I've got a whole new act in a 3D movie. Just wait here, I'll get them. Okay, get ready, girls. Scooter, I'd like to present the 3Ds.
Hi, I'm Dorothy. I'm Dinah.
I'm Max. Your daddy was sick, so the union sent me.
It's like Donna, Danielle, and there's supposed to be a third one, but she called out sick, so they get Max, who's just like a dude.
Yes.
Which is just, the perfect, like, Muppet shenanigans.
Yeah, and they sing, like, By the Light of the Silvery Moon.
Yes.
And it's very cute.
We then get something that will actually play into the plot of Muppetvision 3D, which is Bean. That we get multiple occasions of Bean trying to get into Miss Piggy's dressing room.
Yeah.
To pitch some sort of idea for her big song.
Because he wants to help.
And each time you hear Miss Piggy get upset and hi-ya, and Bean Bunny comes flying out. So that will play into what happens later in the actual attraction.
He just wants to help. There's a little interlude where Fozzie is trying to tell Camilla a "why did the chicken cross the road" joke.
Yes.
And Camilla goes, and Fozzie's like, Fozzie starts laughing, and then we hear him go, "I have a joke for you!" running off screen because he's clearly going to steal Camilla's punchline.
Yes. That's a good turn on the chicken cross the road joke.
And Scooter is trying to get attention. Scooter's trying to, like, start the show. Because Scooter is a good boy.
Yeah, Scooter is doing his stage management roles here and trying to get the show moving. We do have a wonderful Sam Eagle moment.
Yes.
Where he is interrupted by Gonzo saying that Mickey Mouse has arrived. And it turns out to just be Rizzo the Rat wearing mouse ears.
He's wearing a whole costume.
Yes.
And Sam the Eagle's been trying to give safety instructions, and he snaps with, like, I don't want to see this kind of foolishness.
Yes.
Which leads to one of my favorite lines in Muppets. What foolishness would you like to see?
That is a good line.
My next note. God, I love them so much. This was for me.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Rizzo will not be appearing in the film.
Rizzo does not appear in the film.
That's interesting to me that he's in the pre-show but not the film.
Rizzo is one of those Muppets that, like, becomes a little more popular later.
Right.
So I think that's a big piece of it is in 1990. Rizzo's, like, popularity, I think, really kicks off with Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I kind of remember more Rizzo, like Rizzo getting hot around then. Like, I feel like him being the narrator in Muppet Christmas Carol wasn't wildly surprising, but I remember it being like, oh, we're going all in on Rizzo here.
I mean, he's been around. He
Right.
is from the original Muppet Show. And he exists the whole time. But he's just not, like, a major character.
No.
Like, he's in the ones you haven't seen. I was gonna be like, he's the bellhop.
Right,
in
right.
Great Muppet Caper, which you haven't seen. He's just not... He really kind of takes off in Muppet Christmas Carol as being a major character.
Mm-hmm. And... Oh. Sorry, I had to adjust my knee there. Give me a second.
I don't know if we're gonna see Rizzo again.
You don't think we'll see Rizzo again?
Well, when Steve Whitmire was fired.
Oh, was he a big Steve? I didn't know that was Steve.
It was Steve Whitmire from Jump. It's always been.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Rizzo has only ever been performed by Steve Whitmire.
Interesting. I hadn't considered that.
He does not speak in Haunted Mansion.
Rizzo doesn't speak in Haunted Mansion?
He does not.
I thought he was a main character.
No, Pepe really steps into.
Oh, you're right. It is Pepe. Oh. I'm not a big Pepe fan, gang.
Neither am I. He's fine. Like, I dislike Pepe because they've essentially tried to replace Rizzo with him.
Yeah.
And that's really the only reason I don't like Pepe, is I feel like they're casting out Rizzo for Pepe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really my main reason for disliking him.
The last note that I have here about the pre-show is I know that there was a brief time where they had actually edited the pre-show to occasionally include shots of Constantine.
Yeah, that was for about 2 years when Most Wanted was coming out.
Yes. What the version we watched did not have that.
No, because they did get rid of that. The version we watched is essentially the classic version.
Right.
They also changed it up for when Muppet Haunted Mansion was coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was an alternate pre-show during the Muppets Haunted Mansion time period.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it gave me a lot of hope because it made me think that they were going to frequently do these kind of Muppet projects. They did not update it for the Electric Mayhem show.
Okay.
So...
Well, since you bring it up, the Electric Mayhem do not appear in this at all.
They do not.
Which I find very surprising.
I mean, this show is very much a time capsule of the Muppets that were popular in 1990.
Right, and I understand that Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem may not have been as popular in the 90s. But Animal was.
This is true.
And I think the lack of Animal in this whole thing is very confusing, especially since towards the end of this video we have so much of just somebody walking around Muppets Land. There's a lot of Animal stuff just around.
Yeah.
Like there's graffiti that says Animal was here and things like that. So there's a lot of Animal representation, But he does not appear in Muppetvision 3D, which I think is weird.
He does not. And you'd think he would. Especially because when you really think about it, Bean Bunny is in this. And Bean Bunny is really only popular in this very narrow time period.
Yes.
From what I understand, I read an interview, and by this I mean interacted with on Twitter. According to a Q&A with Kirk Thatcher, who directed Muppets Haunted Mansion, the Bean Bunny puppet just doesn't function anymore.
Right.
And they never built a new one.
Right, which is I feel is a bad excuse, because they make new Gonzos all the time.
It's a confounding excuse to me, because respectfully, how much does it really cost to make an existing puppet again?
Right.
Because I could understand if they have to design a puppet from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
Bean Bunny not only exists, but there was that whole the bunny picnic where Bean Bunny debuts.
Yes.
And in that whole thing, there's so many of those bunnies.
Yeah, it's interesting in that, like, I feel like Bean Bunny is so, like, spotlit in this. And this is, like, one of the final appearances of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Muppet Christmas Carol, obviously, in a prominent role.
Right.
But he's not in...
I don't remember him in, like, Treasure Island with a big role.
I don't believe he was a major role. He appears in other things like Muppets Tonight and Muppets from Space, but he's not in he's not really, like, in a lot of things.
I have a vague memory of him eventually appearing in Muppet Babies.
I don't recall that, but...
Like, I feel like he was, like, in the last season of Muppet Babies. I kind of remember a bean showing up.
But he was sort of this, like, aggressively adorable character. I'm very sad that we don't get to see him very much.
I agree.
He's my favorite. I love him so much. I definitely, yes, Bean Bunny did appear in Muppet Babies. But I loved him so much. He was so cute. I have a stuffy of Bean Bunny, who is, at this point, also 20 years old.
Yes, indeed. That's an old plushie.
Yeah, so, because there was a point that is unfortunately long in the rearview mirror where they did have a Muppet store.
Yeah.
In the in the 90s up through the 2000s, there was just Muppet merch. And it was lovely. It was a whole store with just Muppet stuff. Right. And I bought a Bean Bunny plushie because I loved him so much 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Not over it. I miss Bean Bunny.
Let's head into the theater.
Yeah.
And in the theater, one of the first things that kind of get things started are Statler and Waldor.
Yes, who appear in real life, in the felt, you could say.
Yes, they are animatronics. They are not actually puppets. They are animatronics in this scenario. And they appear up in the balcony.
Wearing 3D glasses.
Yes.
Because you do have to wear 3D glasses.
Yes, of course, to get the 3D effects. We then also get an animatronic penguin orchestra that are in the orchestra pit. They are physically there.
Yes.
And we also hear that the Swedish chef is in the projector for this. And we do see an animatronic actual Swedish chef.
A couple times.
A few times throughout this.
But we kind of see him at this point when he's highlighted like that.
Yes. And Kermit welcomes us to the show, and that this is a new idea of Muppetvision 3D, which would be free of cheap 3D tricks.
Did you say cheap 3D tricks?
Well, the first thing we get is a cheap 3D trick where we see the door and the word 3D pops out at you.
Yes.
And then the door opens and you see that it's Gonzo with the 3D on a stick
With a
jamming
big
it
stick,
through
yeah.
the door. And then Kermit introduces Muppetvision and says cheap 3D tricks, which spurs Fozzie.
Yes. Fozzie comes out. He's got a squirting flower. And when this happens, there are also some water effects. So you get a little wet. Get a little wet on this ride. You will get wet on this ride.
Barely.
Yeah, it's Fozzie Bear.
But my next note here is I was so happy. Like, I loved this attraction so much. We then get to we're touring the behind the scenes of Muppetvision 3D, so we're gonna see the tech department.
Yes.
And who's running the tech department?
Oh, that's good old Bunsen and Beaker. That means in canon, 3D is created by Bunsen and Beaker.
Yes, and I will not be taking questions.
Yes.
I believe that to be true.
Yes.
I will break my own rule and do no further research.
So, using their science, they create a CGI character named Waldo. Waldo has the ability to fly out of the screen.
Yes.
There are two moments here I really want to talk about. Is at one point they split him up into multiple Waldos.
Yep.
So there's like 20 or so flying around, and creates with the 3D glasses that there's a bunch of them in front of your face. But according to the video we watched, there was also a bunch of Waldos projected on the walls, which is something I never noticed.
That effect is not introduced until 2023.
Really?
Because they introduced some projection mapping in 2023 because apparently they just wanted to give us hope that it would stay open forever.
That's
when they announced that
that's the only reason they did it, huh?
Yes, spite. To hurt me.
That's so weird that they would do that.
Yeah, they spent so much money to hurt me.
Yeah, that's a strange choice by Walt Disney to spend all that money just to upset Laura.
Isn't it rude?
It is. It's rude.
But yeah, those effects were added actually a bit later.
Oh, so I actually have not seen those tricks.
Yes, I have not either. They announced it in after it had already been completed.
Interesting.
Essentially.
Okay.
And it looks great.
Yeah, it's cool.
And you can see it especially in the end sequence.
Yeah,
you can kind of see more of those effects.
Yeah, it's effective.
And yeah, it was great. It was really cool to see.
We also get a moment, and this is like...
I also like when Beaker gets hit with the water wheel.
Yeah.
It's such a classic Beaker, like there's a water wheel running it, and Beaker standing under it, and he just keeps getting smacked by the pieces of the water wheel. Mm-hmm. Makes me happy.
Yeah. But I think the big money moment of this whole thing is when Waldo says,
You know, all these other people think I'm talking to them, but I'm really just talking to you.
And Waldo points, and the 3D is at its most extreme, that it looks like Waldo is pointing directly at your forehead.
Yes.
Which is impressive in terms of the 3D. It never truly worked for me. It actually made me cross my eyes.
Yeah.
When that moment happened. Also, if the person in front of you was tall, the nose would often go through their head. So Waldo's got a kill count.
Yeah, that's right, dead meat.
Yeah, where's that? Where's that video?
I kind of feel like that would be Don't Threaten Dead Meat with a Good Time. They seem like they'd be into it. So, they vacuum up,
Muppet Labs.
Yeah, they vacuum up the entirety of Muppet Labs. And it's very cute because when he breaks out, that's when he does the "I'm really talking to you" bit. And we then get more bits from Fozzie.
Yes.
Because this is when we get the remote control coconut cream pie.
This I find so impressive. A CGI pie floats out in front of the audience.
Yes.
And floats next to Fozzie Bear. And then in an instant becomes a physical pie and pies Fozzie in the face.
Yes.
It's just like, it's so seamless and it's so well done that I'm always like, I love that moment.
Yeah.
As an editing nerd.
And then we get the best scene in the entire film. We get Miss Piggy's big song.
Yeah, her little song.
Little?
Did I say little? I meant to say it's a huge, show-stopping, major song from Miss Piggy.
That's more like it.
Her big song, in which she is lounging beautifully in a meadow by a pond, singing Dream a Little Dream of Me. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I fully admit this is the reason I know this song.
Yes.
I know it's a standard. I know the song because it's the Muppetvision song.
Right.
And Bean Bunny is trying to help.
Yes.
He is not helpful.
Yes.
He starts with like a little butterfly on like a fishing pole.
Yes.
And then ends with a jet ski.
And he then also does a bee, and music for Flight of the Bumblebee actually plays during that part, which is neat.
And he's adorable. And I love him.
Yeah.
And he gets fired.
Yeah, he gets hired.
Yes.
And fired. At this point, I'd like to point out that most Bean Bunny interactions in media is him being shunned for his performance.
Oh, yeah. He was created to be, essentially, an adorable punching bag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Muppeteers, like, the creators of the Muppets, people like Jim Henson and Frank Oz, kind of felt like they didn't really like the cute reputation the Muppets sometimes got.
Okay.
So they made an intentionally very cute Muppet. And made him sort of a punching bag.
Oh.
And that is how Bean Bunny...
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Oh, I love Bean Bunny so much. I believe there are episodes of this podcast where my Twitter handle at the time was Bean Bunny Lives.
Yes, yes.
So, I clearly walk the walk on this one.
Oh, yes, yes.
So Bean gets fired and decides he's running away. And Waldo C. Graphic joins him as a bindle. Like, he spins it into the bandana on a stick.
Yes, he transforms.
And then we get another silly little, cheap 3D trick with Sweetums playing paddleball.
Yes. It's just him,
boing,
boing. Which is, I don't know, the go-to thing when it comes to, 3D effects.
Yeah, I feel like they did it in Despicable Me.
I think they did it in Despicable Me, and I believe they also did it whenever they did, the Noggle Goggles on Nickelodeon.
Oh my gosh.
There's a brief time where ABC did, a 3D week, and you had to, get the glasses, I think, out of TV Guide. And they're like, yeah, it's going to be in 3D. And it never worked. Because the technology wasn't there yet. And your TV wasn't high quality enough. But yeah, that's the go-to. Because it's a thing that can go out into the audience and come back.
And Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo come out. And they are talking about how Bean Bunny has disappeared.
Yes.
And Gonzo's like, oh yeah, he ran away forever.
Forever?
He had told, because he had told Gonzo he was running away, and Gonzo went, can you bring me a sandwich? And then double-taked and said forever, but Bean was already gone. And then we get one of my favorite parts.
Yes. Go, by all means, take stage here.
A full costumed actor of Sweetums coming out into the crowd. Now, this is great for two reasons. One, Sweetums is great.
Yes.
It's always wonderful to see Sweetums.
Gotta love it.
It's delightful to see him in real time. And if he had been a character that met, no length of time would have been too long for me to wait. Secondly, if you saw this in any showing with little kids, the little kids start to have a bad time.
Yeah, this is where the kids scream because a monster has arrived.
Everything in Hollywood studios in a certain time period had a time period where, in a certain
And
time
then
period,
the children screamed.
there was a part of, like, nearly every attraction where the little kids would start to have a bad time.
Yes.
Because that's why Phantasmic is so loud. That's my theory, is because when Phantasmic starts to get really scary, they have to drown out all the children crying.
That makes sense.
So the volume gets turned up so
Yeah.
the rest of us don't have to listen to the little kids cry.
There's no reason that the Great Movie Ride needed to have an alien section.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that, but it did.
Yeah, just in the 1990s into the 2000s, there was always just a really scary part of every attraction in Hollywood studios for no apparent reason.
No good reason.
So, Sweetums comes out and he's going, Bonnie!
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie, where are you? And I'm delighted and charmed. And he finally finds Bean up in one of the boxes, the opposite box from Statler and Waldorf.
Yes, well, he says, like, if you see a bunny, yell bunny.
Yeah, and then Bean pops up.
Yes.
And it's really relying on the kids in the audience to go, look, a bunny!
I believe there's an audio clip of a kid doing it.
I believe you're right, because I think the real children are often terrified
They're
of
too busy going, get him away. I'm not going to help you. You're a monster.
I mean, I for one would always go, look, there he is, and help out. Because,
Yes.
like, there is really someone in a suit.
Yeah,
with vests.
that will appreciate that.
Yes. I will say, in 4K, that Bean Bunny animatronic looked rough.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the last Bean Bunny puppet.
we do not live anywhere near Florida, so if we end up with a Buzzy situation,
It ain't us.
I didn't do it. But if we end up in a Buzzy situation, I respect whoever did. So they find Sweetums Sweetums finds Bean and all is well.
Yes, they convinced him to come back.
So they're going to do the rest of the show. And they've decided that they found something for Bean to do. He can light the cannon
Yes.
at the end of Sam's Big Number,
Yes.
which is a tribute to all nations, but mostly America.
Mostly America.
And he has planned a glorious 3-hour finale.
He got 90 seconds.
That gasp of Sam the Eagles lives rent-free in my head. That, like, you have a minute and a half. Sam the Eagle is a very underrated Muppet.
Yeah, I think he's beloved. I think everybody loves Sam the Eagle.
Well, the Muppets are all underrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I own Sam the Eagle merch. Mm-hmm. I had the Squishmallow.
Yes, you do.
It's the only Muppet Squishmallow I bought because the rest of them were all characters they tend to merchandise more.
Yes.
And I want them to support making the weird ones.
Yeah, make the weird ones.
And then they made a sippy cup of Sam the Eagle. Because do you know that the America restaurant in Epcot was rethemed to be slightly around Sam the Eagle?
Yes.
So it's now the Regal Eagle, and Sam the Eagle is like the poster boy.
Yeah.
They had a Sam the Eagle sippy cup, and I was like, that's delightful. I'm not going to get it. Mm-hmm. And then I turned my back, and I was with my mom.
Yeah.
I turned my back, and my mom just put it on the tray, and before I knew it, I was like, oh, I have him now.
I guess I have this now.
So smash cut to me just walking around Epcot drinking Diet Coke out of Sam the Eagle all day. But I love Sam the Eagle. This one hurt so bad because I loved this attraction so much.
Yeah, I think the next part's like the part that's really going to hurt you. Because we are heading to the grand finale.
We get these weird little dolls playing instruments, which is so strange to me. Because this seems like a really good place we could have put the remaining Muppets.
Yes, I was
Up
going to
here.
say that. It's very strange that we... Because, like, there's these humanoid Muppets that I've seen before in, like, the Muppet Show and stuff.
It's also like, it's a place you could have, like, had a little cameo for, your
Dr.
standard...
Teeth.
Yeah, the Electric Mayhem. Scooter does not actually appear in the show.
I understand why, because he's not a performer.
I don't, because so much goes wrong.
Yeah, I guess he could have come out and been like, come on, stay on task or whatever.
What do you mean we lost an actor?
Yeah.
What do you mean he went... Where did he go?
But I want to bring up that the introduction to this moment, to the grand finale, is Kermit saying,
Okay, everybody, get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, the Muppets proudly present the final demonstration of Muppetvision 3D.
Yep.
bet that hit real hard on that last showing.
I do follow a few people who were there
Yeah.
on social media, and It did.
Yeah.
One of the... I follow a few accounts, and you just see them. And there are people who are no older than I am. Like, these are people who grew up with the Muppets, not necessarily, like, older people who've had the Muppets, who grew up with the Muppets as the Muppets were growing up, but people like me for whom the Muppets were always there.
Yeah.
And just full crying.
Mm-hmm.
I was not in Florida the last night the attraction was running. I was also full crying.
Yes, this is true.
I literally cried on my couch that night, which, you know, great.
It happens. So there are lots of wonderful, like, fireworks effects.
Yeah, up on the ceiling.
Up on the ceiling, there's some lights.
And they're like...
3D effects and such.
They're a little crappy.
Yeah.
Like, but they're in that gorgeous, like, late 80s, early 90s attraction way where we weren't as obsessed with, like, screens and...
Yeah.
So everything's a little more practical and tactile, and I love that, and I really miss that in attractions.
Yeah.
Waldo interrupts, and everything kind of becomes bedlam.
Yes. The fireworks go everywhere.
It rips Miss Piggy's skirt off because she's Lady Liberty.
Yes.
Much like she is in the fountain outside.
Statler and Waldorf duck for cover. And we have an explosion by the projection room.
Yes, because Sweetums tells the Swedish chef, "Stop the movie! Stop the movie!" And it's not Sweetums on the screen. It is still the actor in real time playing Sweetums.
And the Swedish chef shows up behind you, coming out of the projector room, holding a full-on blusterbust.
No, first he has the cannon. Oh, no, he has... No, excuse me, you're right.
He has a gun first.
He has a blunderbuss and blows him.
And he starts just firing wildly in the theater.
Yeah, and it only works because it's a, like, silly, old-fashioned looking gun.
Yeah. And then he steps back and pulls out an entire cannon.
Which is, I think, where we could have used Animal.
Yes, cannons are so related to Animal in my mind.
And it starts to, like, blow holes in the theater, and the projection mapping shows holes in the sides of the walls.
Yes.
And you see little white flags go up from Statler and Waldorf's box as they go, "We surrender! We surrender!" And stupid and cute.
Mm-hmm. And that basically brings up to the end of the show, where we get a weird moment where the curtain closes, but Waldo flies out.
Yes.
And transforms into Mickey.
Yeah.
This is the first time in rewatching this that I understood what happened.
Yeah.
Because Waldo comes out, transforms into Mickey, and goes... The idea is Waldo is disguising himself so he can escape and run mayhem across the park.
Yes.
Up until last night when we watched it, I thought this was telling us that Mickey was Waldo the whole time. And that Mickey was the real magic.
No.
I was very wrong.
And then we just get this iconic ending with Kermit in the fire truck saying, like, "Thank you for coming!" And you see, essentially, the 1990 park behind it.
Yes, because the idea is that the screen is gone, the wall behind it is gone, and you're seeing into outside now.
Yes. And Bean goes, "What a cute ending!" from his spot in the box, and then Statler and Waldorf go, "Do you think we have time to go to the bathroom before the next show?" "No, you old fool, we're bolted to the seats." And I love this attraction so much.
Yes.
And rewatching it, it's not, like, it really does rely on you kind of already caring about it. I don't know if this was my first or only experience with the Muppets, if I would feel the same way about it.
Right, I guess so.
There's definitely a history aspect to it.
Right, go ahead.
This was the last project Jim Henson himself worked on.
Right.
Which is, I think, why it hit everyone so hard.
Yes, a lot of people see it as sacred.
And It ran... It opened a year to the day after Jim Henson died.
That's such weird timing.
I mean, I think they chose the date around
Right.
the anniversary. And it closed on June 8th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things with that is they kept upgrading it a little bit. Upgrading the projections at the end of 2023. And they had announced Monstropolis from Monsters, Inc. as going into the park. And everyone sort of just thought it was going to take over where Star Wars Launch Bay and Animation Courtyard are.
Right.
Which are now largely unused areas of the park.
Right.
Where there's nothing that anyone cares about.
Right.
And everyone sort of just thought they would put it there. So at the end of 2024, when they announced that they would be closing Muppetvision 3D, a lot of people took it really hard, myself included. They've also been trying to merchandise and social media do the 70th anniversary of the Muppets. Like, to the point where they released a new Starbucks mug for Hollywood Studios last week that has the Piggy fountain.
Right.
And Kermit on it. And I showed it to you and went, how dare you? Mm-hmm. How dare you? It did appear in both parks in the U.S.
Oh, really? Was there a Disneyland version of this?
In California Adventure, yes. It closed in 2014.
Oh, okay.
So, the official closing date is June 8th. The last show is June 10th.
Right.
There was a cast member only show.
That makes sense.
I remember I flirted with the idea of doing Disney College program. I didn't end up pursuing it because there really wasn't a way to do it that would not have required me not graduating on time.
Right.
So I chose not to, but I remember saying, like, I was going to do whatever I could to be in Muppetvision 3D.
Right.
That was going to be, I was going to go for entertainment first, but I wasn't going to get entertainment because I was too short. So I was going to go for attractions. Mm-hmm. And hope that, since I wanted a less popular attraction, hope that I got it.
Right, right.
I did have a whole plan.
I see, I hear.
Because I loved this attraction so much. I saw it twice. I didn't see this attraction until I was pretty old. I was about 17 the first time I saw this attraction.
Really?
When my family and I went as a kid, we skipped MGM.
Oh.
Because it was too similar to Universal, and my parents wanted to take me to Nick Studios.
I also don't believe No, I'm not sure if I saw it my senior trip or not.
I went twice on my senior trip and bought that Bean Bunny.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, because there was a day I think I split off from the rest of my group went to go on Tower of Terror, and I was too afraid to go on it, so I just went back to Muppetvision.
That makes sense.
And by the time they waited for and got on Tower of Terror, I had gotten on Muppetvision again.
You had done a 15-minute long attraction.
So I loved it. I mean, it's very emblematic of what MGM was at that time, too, of that, like, inside the movies. It's the only piece of the intended Muppet Land that ever appeared.
Right. Because there was a time where, after the big anniversary of Disney, that they were just going to hand the reins over to the Muppets for a while, right?
So, in Hollywood Studios, they were essentially making a deal with Jim Henson to create multiple rides. There was going to be like a Muppets movie ride. They were going to essentially have an entire part of the park that was Muppet themed. The only thing to come of it ended up being Muppetvision 3D, because essentially Jim Henson's death stopped that deal.
That makes sense, yeah.
And I really... it used to be a beautiful building, and over time they did erode a lot of what made it beautiful. Yeah. Which is Galaxy's Edge's fault. Yeah. They did it to make sure you couldn't see... There used to be a beautiful hot air balloon. Right, I remember this yellow and orange hot air balloon with Kermit's face on it that you could see from a lot of places in the park. Right. And they got rid of that roughly around when Galaxy's Edge...
Because it didn't fit Galaxy's Edge to have a giant frog balloon.
And There's a beautiful Kermit and Piggy mural of him, like, dip kissing her. Mm-hmm. They painted over that essentially for Galaxy's Edge as well. It's a really good thing I like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because I would resent the crap out of it. This was written by Bill Prady, who would later go on to be the original showrunner for the Muppets sitcom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found that really interesting. I don't know that I knew that.
I certainly did not.
But Bill Prady worked as far back as Fraggle Rock and the Jim Henson Hour. And Bill Prady has a Muppet based on him.
Oh, yeah?
I'm Chip.
From IT?
Whose first appearance is actually in the Jim Henson Hour, which only ran one season.
Something that certain podcasters should be aware of and considering.
And is also the first appearance of Waldo.
Really?
Waldo is not original to Muppetvision 3D.
Interesting, because I was going to start a debate with you of whether or not Waldo is a Muppet.
So,
Because he sure ain't a puppet, but, like, there's already some sort of, like, CGI action before, but he's 100% CGI. What's the debate? My feeling is you could probably argue he is a Muppet, but I don't think we're ever going to see him again.
I mean, he is CGI.
Yes. Does that disqualify it?
He's another one I don't know that we'll ever see again because he was also Steve Whitmire.
That makes sense.
When Disney got rid of Steve Whitmire, because I believe they did fire him.
Yes, because he was being difficult because he had opinions about how Kermit the Frog would act. Just because he's been playing him for years.
Yeah, and a lot of the Muppet performers weren't happy about it.
Right.
A lot of the Muppet performers feel like Disney did a smear job.
Yes.
One of them actually said this publicly on the Defunctland podcast. Everyone sort of feels like the Disneyfication of the Muppets has really eroded what they are.
Yeah.
Which I think we've seen.
Edgy.
I mean, we've seen that in anything after the Muppet sitcom, because we reviewed Muppets Now, and Muppets Now was pretty bad.
Terrible.
There were, like, 2 good sketches in the entire show.
Yeah.
There's, like, a great Uncle Deadly sketch.
Mm-hmm.
The first movie's great.
Yes.
The second movie is fine.
Yeah, the Muppets Most Wanted is... it's fine.
It's fine.
It has moments, but, like...
Like, it's kind of like Pizza. Where, like, it's still a Muppet movie.
It's still Muppets, yeah.
And we have not yet watched Muppets Mayhem. We are planning to, at some point, do an episode of the podcast on it.
I hear that ran 1 season.
It did. So I know that's going to be something that is coming. So a lot of people are still friendly with Steve Whitmire. He was attending events at Muppetvision's closure. There were several, like, fan convention-esque events.
Oh.
Leading up to that weekend. And he actually, on social media, performed as Rizzo the Rat using a fan-made puppet.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, he was in the parks. He was talking to fans. He was with Heather Henson, who is Jim Henson's daughter.
Right.
Who was the last person to enter the attraction.
Right. She was the last admitted.
So, this one hurts. I loved this attraction. And, like, watching it objectively, I will fully admit, it's not a perfect attraction.
No, but what is?
It's stupid, it's dumb, it's simplistic. It also was 20 minutes in air conditioning.
Yes.
Which is something I think that Hollywood Studios desperately needs, and I'm really surprised they did not. They have, like, a stopgap villain show.
Right.
The current theory, which I think is people like me trying to cope, is that there is a villain show that people think is going to be temporary and is going to be moved to Villain's Land in Magic Kingdom when that part of the park opens.
Right.
And that it could be retrofitted to be Muppetvision 3D again.
Right.
When they open the refitted Rock and Roller Coaster with the Muppets.
Yes. So, real quick, we are getting a new version of the Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yes.
With the Muppets. I wouldn't be surprised if Waldo appears in there, and that will probably be the last time we see him. Like, just as, like, an homage to the original ride.
I mean, I think he's going to be, like, almost an Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. Like how Mr. Toad shows up in Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
That being said, I find it so strange that there is going to be a time without Muppetvision 3D and without Rock and Roller Coaster at the same time.
Yeah.
It, to me, would make so much sense to close Rock and Roller Coaster first. Have it ready to go with Muppets. And then when Muppetvision 3D closes, maybe give it a week of like, oh, they're moving their stuff to the Rock and Roller Coaster, and then Rock and Roller Coaster goes up. Then you only have one attraction down, instead of two. And one of them being the big rocking roller coaster, which is a big, important ride because that's, you fast pass either Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror, and you wait in line for the other one. That's just how it works. So it just seems like such a weird choice for them to do it this way.
I also, they announced on the day Muppetvision closed, they did like a little, they released a little video of Kermit formally announcing the Rock and Roller Coaster switch and saying that it would open in 2026. Now, up to now, no closing date has been announced for Rock and Roller Coasters featuring Aerosmith.
Right.
We do not know when that's going to close. I imagine it will probably close either right after the summer season or at the beginning of January.
Okay.
That seems to be when rides go down for refurbishment because January used to be the slower season.
Right.
That's more old knowledge now because it's really not as slow as it once was.
Yeah.
But it'll either close right after the summer or right after the holidays. It's not going to close... They're not going to close it like December 10th.
Yes.
Because they're not going to take an attraction down 2 weeks before the busiest week of the year.
The other thing that I've been seeing is, why not just move Muppetvision 3D into the Captain EO Theater? Because they had Captain EO, which is the Michael Jackson attraction, which is a movie, and that closed for a while, and it just became Pixar shorts. It's like Paperman and like Lava and things like that play there. And then when Michael Jackson died, they were like, let's bring back Captain EO for a bit. And it was that simple.
Yeah.
So there has been discussion I've seen online where it's like, oh, just do that. Just move Muppetvision into that. The problem is Muppetvision 3D is so much more than just a movie.
Yes.
You need a Sweetums, you need Statler and Waldorf, you need Bean, and you need Penguins.
And the Swedish Chef.
And Swedish Chef. Like, there's a lot going on, so you can't just do that.
It was professionally recorded in May 2025.
Oh, really?
For preservation purposes. So, something interesting is, for the 70th anniversary of Disneyland, a number of attractions have gone up as formal professional ride-throughs on Disney+.
Oh, really? That's nifty.
I'm trying to see if those are up yet or if they're going up. They're planning to essentially put them up. They're putting them up on July 17th. They're putting in POV rides of a lot of the biggest rides. Mm-hmm. And they're nighttime spectaculars. And these are going to be top of the line, professionally recorded, probably before or everyone you see is going to have been on the payroll kind of things. Disney has done this before. They did a series called Disney Sunrise.
Right, I remember
where
this.
It was just time-lapse photography of the parks at sunrise with like gentle audio over it. It was lovely. I actually really enjoyed those. So there is precedent for posting attractions, and Disney Plus has been centralizing a lot of content. They also just put up the Frozen musical.
Oh, cool.
Like a pro shot of the Frozen musical in its entirety.
That's nifty.
The West End version. So the argument is the entire audience for the professionally filmed one was cast members.
Interesting.
Because cast members could volunteer to be in it.
Cool.
So I think there's a really solid chance we get some version of it. Mm-hmm. Were I a betting woman,
yes,
I am going to bet that we get it in about, I don't know, 35 weeks or so.
And why is that?
Because I think we're going to get it. Because right now, about 35 weeks. Because the Muppet of the Week right now is Nikki Napoleon. It is week 44 of 70.
Right.
I think we get the glorious finale. I think the Muppetvision video goes in Disney Plus that last week, so that they have some kind of content to push.
That makes sense.
Like, that Kermit will... I think that is also when we were going to get the announcement of the opening date of Rock and Roller Coaster with the Muppets.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think that's when we're going to get the closing date of Rock and Roller Coaster, because I strongly think for a 2026 opening date that they will be closed in the next 34 weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well.
I love the Muppets. I want Disney to do more with them. Mm-hmm. I wish what they were doing was a little better.
Well, I would like to bring one final thing up here.
Okay.
2 years ago, you and I sat down to do a Muppet tier list.
Yes.
Where we took all of the Muppet properties that we've seen, including some that we have not seen, and we ranked them from never seen to we pretend didn't happen to skippable to worth your time to Muppetational to cream of the crop.
Yes.
And I reviewed it quickly, and I found that we did include Muppetvision 3D.
I'm sure we did.
In this tier list. Where do you think we placed it?
No lower than Muppetational.
It is, in fact, the top of Muppetational. I believe it would have been cream of the crop, but I was like, let's make the cream of the crop only 6 things. And you fought me on that, and I was like, but we're doing this for content, it's not just for us, and then you yelled at me. But apparently I still got my way, because it is, in fact, just 6 spots there.
I think we did do, I think, was this the first tier list we did? Because I feel like I kept knocking J.D. Roth down as petty revenge after that.
This is, or Rogues Gallery were our first tier list that we did.
Yeah.
That being said, I would like to voice to you now, the very bottom of Cream of the Crop is Muppet Haunted Mansion. With the power of hindsight, would you like to switch those things?
So this is where we get into subjective versus objective.
Okay.
Because I think Muppets Haunted Mansion is objectively a better Muppets product in a lot of ways. It tells a better story. It's not as hemmed in by being a theme park ride. For my personal feeling, Muppetvision 3D is further up because it's so important to me personally.
Okay. I won't spoil what else is on this tier list because it's probably going to pop up on your screen if you're watching on YouTube at the end of this very video.
Hey!
So if you want more Muppet content from us, be sure to click that.
I wonder if I cry in those videos.
Anything else to add?
No,
Would you like to say stay tuned?
Yeah, I mean...
Stay tuned.
I never wanted this to close. I've been singing I'm Going to Go Back There Someday.
You have been.
For the last, month. I sung it to our baby niece.
You did.
The other day of like... So the Muppets is so important to me.
And if you love the Muppets, come talk to us in our Discord. You'll find a link to that in the links down below. And if you don't want to do that, where else can people find us, Laura?
You can email us at thestaydoomedshow@gmail.com or on Blue Sky at Stay Doomed.
And if you realize that even though I'm recording this podcast for hundreds of people, that I was really only talking to you, then reach out to me at TV's Noah on Instagram and the Blue Sky.
If you figure, like, how hard could it possibly be to just remake the Bean Puppet, I'm Laura Crane on Blue Sky. Until next time, stay doomed.